My name is Simon. I'm the data officer of this mission. I'm doing a Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering in Toulouse, in France. And I also did 1 year in London, in the London School of Economics, doing a Master of Science in Philosophy of Science during my gap year. And next year I'll come back to ISAE SUPAERO to finish my Master of Engineering. So my main motivation was to put myself in this situation, which is kind of a difficult situation. So the idea was to observe the psychological impact on social relationships. So I'm not doing an experiment on the psychology of the crew, but I'm really interested in the interaction of the crew in this kind of mission. So this is the first time I'm doing an analog mission where I don't know the other people before. I already did one analog mission last year and I knew all the members of the crew, so that was really different. That's it. My main motivation is to put myself in this kind of situation and see how I will evolve and maybe have a first idea if I want to be an astronaut or not. What is also interesting is to bring science here. So the way of doing science during an analog mission is really different from what you can do in labs, for instance. So I brought 2 to 3 experiments myself, and this is really different context, and it's nice to do science here. So it's another reason for why I'm doing this. These are not experiments you can do in the lab. They are designed to be done in that kind of environment, and they mostly look at the impact of isolation and confinement on the members of the crew. So I'm the data officer of the mission. It means that I'm in charge of the analytical laboratory. So in it, all the material there and the 3D printer, for instance, which was broken during our mission. So me and Jan tried to repair it during the mission, which was interesting. I'm also in charge of the whole telemetry within the station, and that's it. I also brought my experiments, but not related to my role specific in the mission. I don't have any specific space movie that I like. Recently I've been amazed by Interstellar, which is really quite good. It's really science oriented and in a good way, but it's also quite philosophical, and so I really enjoyed it. And within the classics, I mean, I love 2001, Space Odyssey, and that's it. So I brought 3 experiments. The first one is physical training and physiology. So the idea is to build the best physical training. So by the best, I mean one which is adaptable and that could fit anyone. The second experiment that I'm doing is PSI, which is an experiment from the Italian Mars Society. PSI for performance and stress in isolation. Basically, it asks members of the crew to write a text. They observe the variation of within the use of language in that experiment, and this is to observe the effect of isolation. The third experiment that I'm doing is Teleop, which is an experiment from the ISAE SUPAERO, which is my university. It comes from the science lab there. The idea is to observe the effect of isolation on the performance of a complex task. And the complex task here is the manipulation of a rover along a track. During this manipulation, I observe 3 factors as the investigator of the experiment. So we observe physiological parameters through an ECG and through an eye tracker. We also observe psychological parameters through questionnaires before, during and after the manipulation of the rover. And finally, we observe the performance of doing this task. To do this, I'm just standing next to the track and I'm noting the time to do the track and also the amount of mistakes. Not really, no, like space movie. I have, I could say David Bowie, Life on Mars, which is quite classic. But beside this, there are a few songs that are pretty cool to listen while thinking about space, but are not space related. For instance, M83, which is a French band, and one of their songs is Splendor, which is quite cool. The most difficult aspect of the mission is, I think, everything which is related to isolation. So we are working every day, we are working on the same tasks, we are doing the same things like medical checkup, our experiments. We desynchronize in time. We don't take shower, we don't see any natural light, any nature besides the biolab. I think this whole routine of being isolated is what is the most difficult aspect of the mission. It has a real psychological impact, and through time I think it impacts the social relationships, and social relationships are the most important thing during this kind of mission, so the whole isolation thing is pretty difficult to handle. As I knew the question before coming, this one, which is actually really recent but really cool, written by Dallas Campbell, and it's just a lot of anecdotes, a lot of space facts from the beginning of space exploration to today. Actually, the same thing that is the most difficult aspect of the mission. What I enjoy the most is to put myself in that kind of situation and to see how I will evolve in an isolation, how I will handle the relationships. And I think I enjoy it, not in a way that I'm good at it, but in a way that I enjoy seeing myself in this situation, pushing my limits. This is what I like about these missions. Not really. I'd like to maybe try to do a PhD in astrodynamics after, or something which is aerospace engineering oriented. But next year I'll have to finish my Master of Aerospace Science, more studies, because I like that. That's it. Yes, of course. But I think that to be an astronaut it requires much more experience, and I feel that I'm not really ready for this. So I'd like to do it in the ID, but I'm not sure I could do it right now. I'm gonna answer something really classic, but do what you like, and just if you like what you're doing, you will do it well. So if you like space and working in space, just orient your studies there and opportunities will come. I think that we might be able to do something on Mars for now, but this is the next step, but we first need to solve the issues that we have on Earth.